there was a tweet. Y'all know my scrolling. There was a tweet on the timeline that I saw that said, and this kind of ties into to the previous topic. A young woman named M. Her pronouns are they and she. I don't know how that works, but it says men are 100% more emotional than women. Society just likes to pretend that anger and impatience aren't emotions. Thought that was very, very interesting. 1000%
Oh,
disagree with
brother.
you, Miss She. But I wanted to see how y'all felt about it. Let's get Torin, and then if Slick got something to say, because they were the last two, and then we're gonna go to 10. What's the word, Torin?
What's good, man? Just to answer the question in the room right now, since you shifted the conversation, men who grow up with no male role models and grow up with no men who they can idealize absolutely get emotional. Now, the question is, what that tweet doesn't want to address is why are those men emotional? It's because they've been raised by women. Not all women are emotional like that, but a lot of these men who are emotional, because they are out here, who don't have control of that, don't have any male role models around them. So, of course, that's what you're going to get. Men would fix that.
Got to have your daddy in your life. Go ahead, Slick. What's the word? How you feeling today?
What's good? How y'all doing on this nice day? Uh, with her, I would have to disagree. I would say men are more emotional, but men are just as emotional as women, regardless of what you want to call it or how you want to frame it. Men are just as emotional as women. It ain't more, it ain't less. We all in this shit together.
I
Nah, I think
disagree.
that's fiction also. Fiction
Yeah, I
also.
totally
Go ahead,
disagree.
10.
No, I agree. I agree with Slick. I think the difference is how we handle our emotions. Men, how can I say it? The double standards of society are real. So men don't really have time for that fuck shit that women do, right? So when it comes to the anger and the impatientness, it's like really because some shit is in the way, like of what we trying to do most of the time, and that's fair. But when it comes for to HBBs making these statements like this is really, Mitch, you just don't know how to be with a nigga for real. You don't know how to be with a man. You don't know what it takes for when he is angry or impatient, not only with you, but with the outside world. You call it emotion, and then you call a nigga sassy, soft, and this, that, and the third. And you try to use that to weaponize, to demonize him when really, bitch, I'm a human too. I got fucking feelings. I may not express them like you do. And that's fair. The nigga shouldn't be expressing his feelings like a woman. I don't agree with that at all. But that don't mean a nigga don't have no feelings.
Go ahead, Fresh, and then we got your name.
Yeah, Brother Torin and Tin has really touched on it. When it comes to emotions, and between men and women, it's the same hardware, different software. Meaning it's just gonna present different in how it's handled. Because Tin just said something that's really vital, and I've seen this in real time. Like, we're expected to be these stoic, stale, stone rock people, but like men still feel deep, right? There's a saying, still water runs deep. Men absolutely still experience all the emotions that women do. They don't present them the same, nor do we typically, because it does happen, but typically are you supposed to react solely on emotion? What you're supposed to do, because I say this to my lady when we have conversations, emotions are absolutely valid. But emotions are meant to make sense of reality, not create reality. And a lot of times, the fairer sex, we see that emotions can create their reality and distort actual reality. And men are not supposed to operate in that manner. It's very dangerous when a man operates in that manner. When he operates off his emotions, and we see that where a man has no latitude to understand his emotions, it goes from happy to I'm gonna kill everybody in the room to it's just straight up and down. So it can be really dangerous. So I'm of the mind of Torin and what Tin just said. We absolutely experience all the same emotions, but it definitely presents different. It's definitely ordered different.
Go ahead, your name.
Yes. I don't believe men are more emotional than women. I do think that, um, the belief that men have felt women are quote unquote the emotional ones is where I don't agree. Men are emotional, right? First off, humans are emotional. So I think it is how people are raised. It is how you're taught. It is our systems. It's our world that teach men how to either filter, suppress, handle, deal with. So I think all of y'all are right. How the emotions are expressed are different, but to think that women are just more emotionally expressive in other ways does not mean that men are not emotional. I really feel like, generally speaking, it gets a little toxic to me when men feel like they want to lean into women are the emotional creatures, and 9 times out of 10, a man is the one yelling to the top of his lungs with zero emotional control. You get what I'm saying? Like, we all are expressive and we all should be expressive. We find healthy ways to do it. I just feel like to think that one is and the other is not, or one is more than the other, I just don't agree with that part.
I think that with this tweet and conversations about emotion, women view emotion from a reactionary standpoint. Because for the most part, niggas just ain't kicking the door in and yelling and screaming and slapping you
Mm-hmm.
across the head and you get on my nerves or being impatient. I think there are a lot of things as far as in the moment or proactive emotions and where
Mm-hmm.
women display a lack in regulating that. And
Mm-hmm.
then when your nigga get mad at you, or he just like tired of it, or he don't want to hear it no more, and it's like, oh, you being emotional. It's like, no, bitch, you know what you just been doing for an hour? Like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand what you just been doing and saying.
Now, I don't think a
Because
woman
it's a
should be
lot of times,
weaponizing that. Like,
what,
I'm not like that, especially in my relationship. It's like, no, I want you to express your emotion. Like there needs to be room for both of us to express emotion if we're in something for the long haul. You get what I'm saying? I don't believe in a woman yelling, screaming, venting, yapping, and then a man is supposed to just sit there and be like, okay,
yeah,
and be the
and
calmer
that's
head.
what
I don't
happens.
agree with that.
Because like 9 times
Oh,
out of 10, all niggas can agree when they woman be acting crazy, we look her dead in the face, and in our head, it's like this whole 30 plus. Like this is how you acted. And to Ten's point, we do gotta kind of like treat women with kid gloves and like coddle, and then as soon as
oh,
like
y'all
we
sound like TC.
treat you
No,
by
I
your,
don't think so.
I I I I mean niggas up here, you can ask the niggas. I
No, I
think
don't
TC
that
think you
literally
have to. I
said
think that's,
for
but I think
years that
that's,
women are children.
hold on. I think that when you don't, right, it is hit or miss because you do have some that can handle it, but that's some, and that's the
right.
minority.
But
The
Rashad,
vast majority can't, and then when you treat them like their age on their ID says, then now all of a sudden you emotional, you
okay.
mean, and you impatient.
But Rashad, okay. So this is where, if we're going to have this conversation, let's have it in a real way. The truth of the matter is yes, that may be a possibility, but there's also a huge gap. Men sometimes, not all men, don't understand that there is a spectrum. You don't go from talking to your girl like she's one of the niggas to treating her like a child. There is a middle. You can have gentleness or care to how you speak to somebody, whether it's in a serious tone. You know what I'm saying? It don't gotta be this end of the spectrum or the other. Same with women. Like, you can be serious about what you're saying to your man. You could have emotion behind your voice, but you don't gotta cuss him out and say he ain't shit and use all types of words. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a thing, and I think like just how you just communicated that, right? I know your intention behind it, but imagine as a woman feeling like, well, I'm not asking to be treated like a child. I want you to understand that we don't emote the same way. We don't feel things the same way. We are literally, you're a man, I'm a woman. We see things from different positions because we are different. And as a man to say, well, that just means you want me to coddle you. No, it's not that. There is a middle ground. It's like gentleness, but strength. You get what I'm saying? Like, there is a way to do both. And the reality is sometimes men don't know how to do both. They only know either I'm treating you like my child or I'm treating you like I do in the world. And it's like, there is a middle. There is
Yeah, I
something
think that
closer to the
a
middle
lot
than
of
I think both of us
I
think.
think a lot of men don't know how to do it right, but I think there is a group of men that do, because I'm just gonna be honest. Women are in a relationship with their man. They are selfish in a lot of aspects, and emotional selfishness is one of those aspects, right? And where men have to continually pour in emotionally and navigate these emotional
Excuse
minefields.
me.
Listen, that we have to continue to pour in emotionally and navigate these emotional minefields, and it's definitely not reciprocated to the same level, or if at all. And so in these instances, y'all don't really understand the gymnastics that niggas got to play in a relationship when it comes to simple communication or trying to lead. Y'all got mad because the nigga said he wanted his bitch to be healthy. Like
But
it's
that's not
these
the
little
same thing.
situations. Hold on, wait. But these little situations and what men have to do in relationships, it is very real. And so now when it comes to situations and where, in my opinion, she is 100% reactionary because the majority of niggas aren't just mad and angry and impatient,
I
right?
don't think that's the case either, Rashad. But I think again, when you have conversations like this, it becomes this blame, like, oh, you don't know that men are doing all the heavy lifting with the emotions. Let's be very clear. A lot of men are avoidant, right? When it comes to emotions, because that's how you're taught. That's where a lot of like how masculinity leans into, you avoid the sensitivity and you lean into the strength. And so you don't really have time to deal with blah, 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 right? And that in itself, some can say, okay, that's an avoidant way. I think a lot of times it becomes because women want to have conversations and go, now mind you, of course, sometimes we carry and we want to talk about it. We get it. We understand. I think those things are taxing. I'm not going to dismiss the point of what you're saying, but I think also in the same breath to say you're doing all of the emotional carrying, that is not the case. It is an emotional struggle for women to figure out how to pull certain things out of you as well.
No,
It
I'm
is
not.
emotionally,
No,
hold
I'm
on one
saying that.
second. Hold on one second. It is absolutely positively on both sides of the spectrum, emotionally taxing, whether it is yapping all the time and always talking about how you feel and the emotions and having this hypersensitivity. Yes. But then there is also a lot of emotionally taxing things that as a woman, if you're dealing with a man that has been through things, helping him navigate how to even articulate what he's feeling, and or being a woman that can even hear what he's feeling, or being there for him to give him time and have patience to get to what he's trying to express. Both are things that either side is carrying and bringing to the relationship, but it is it's the purview. It is how you perceive it. It is your perspective that see your woman as a weight rather than somebody that you're working with, and understanding you're bringing your own share of shit too.
No, and we're gonna get to you, dude. I think that there is a level of pressure in supplying those emotional needs on that a man has that a woman doesn't. Because if a woman isn't emotionally satisfied, the relationship is in jeopardy. If a man is not emotionally satisfied, it's nigga suck it up. So there's a level of pressure just built in where we have to do those certain type of things. That's why I say that men probably hold the lion's share in trying to appease a woman in that level.
I
Go
can
ahead,
understand that.
dude.
That might have been the most interesting back and forth I've ever heard on this topic. Um, Men are absolutely just as, I don't remember who it was who said it. So I'm in agreement with whoever it was. Men are absolutely just as emotional as women. Yes, we absolutely show it in different ways. And the emotions that we have are aimed at different things typically. They're not always aimed at the same thing. We tend to be raised differently as men and women in our society to care about different things. We make things more or less a priority based on the societal norms. So when you find a man who has put in the time to get to know the women that he's with, or the women that he's been with, or just the women in his life, so he knows what is important to the women in general, and then you match those things, but then you try to wander around those things when dealing with him, he notices that. So he'll address that. Now he's either sassy or overly emotional or argumentative for noticing these things. Now that's a woman by woman thing, right? In general, men address problems the way that we see them, and that's not something that's new to anyone in this conversation. In general, we seek a solution to the problem that we've seen. In general, we have to figure out how to approach this problem with you so that you don't feel like you're being attacked instead of being asked to be better in this area because you are in fact the problem in this area. That is a fact in general that you can ask across the board. Men in general will agree with. Every once in a while, you're going to happen across a man who's going to say, no, I don't usually deal with women that I have to deal with like that. And that's a different type of thing. Like that's the exception. Those women tend to be in general, the exception to this rule. I know that I can get up from this seat that I'm in right now, go to my brother's house, tell him that I've seen some fucking problems in his house and that these things need to be fixed. My brother, my oldest brother. After deciding whether or not we gotta have a physical altercation over my verbiage, we're gonna fix whatever the fuck it is. If I go to my sister's house, my little sister, if I go to her house and do the exact same thing, I may not speak to my sister for another 2-3 months. And when I finally do speak to her, she'll be expecting an apology from me, because who the fuck did I think I was coming to her house and noticing something was wrong?
And I told this story. Well, let DB go and then Paris, and then I'll get back to that. Go ahead, DB.
I mean, y'all touched on it, damn near everything. I was going to say, only thing I'll add in is that on the emotional side for men, what we see with our outcomes is that majority of the niggas that make emotional decisions in life, they're probably dead or in jail. Well, from my perspective, is what I see. So that's the only caveat I also add into this.
The jail is
Go ahead,
full of them.
Paris.
Say what's
AIG,
lit?
send me a message,
I
AIG.
said
I
the
don't know if
jail
you a
is
bot or
full
not.
of them, full of
Right.
emotional ass
Right, and
niggas.
make an emotional ass nigga. So that's how they end up
Um,
there. So yeah, for
Go
sure.
ahead,
I
Paris.
I only have 2 points to make. Nothing is wrong with men being expressive of their emotions, and maybe if we stopped acting like that everybody is so stoic, we could avoid a lot of more escalated problems because we don't badger them for having emotions. They're human. The other part of that is we are always seeing how men are being said that they're not good parents. They're just deadbeats. They're just this. They're just that. And then it's always some story about a woman with a paternity case where we're trying to make her the victim for her lack of sexual discipline. And it's like, I'm starting to see a trend here of us shifting the narrative about how men feel about being parents and their children. But there are so many instances that we can recall where a woman got her ass beat because a man was trying to be a parent. And those things don't correlate. So I don't really know why y'all are pushing this message like men are just not, they don't give a fuck this, that, and the third. But it's way too many and way too unnecessary stories about a man doing something to a woman behind a child he thought was his. And I find that to be a problem.
Yeah, I
Mm.
wanted to know how Jonay felt about the last statement that I
Mm-hmm.
made as far as
Say it again.
the pressure to
Mm-hmm.
deliver
Yes.
emotionally
Mm-hmm.
man versus woman. Because on
Yeah.
one hand, you know, if a woman isn't emotionally satisfied, then the relationship's in jeopardy.
Mm.
On the other hand, it's not like that, and it's kind of not even kind of suck it up, be a man. If a
Right.
man is emotionally satisfied.
So, okay. So I'm gonna be honest. I just feel like if we're talking like standard, kind of like leaning into the toxic narrative, yes, it's all on a man, right? But if we're being honest, if we're looking for healthy dynamics and we understand, okay, the balance of what maybe leans more in levels of importance to a man versus a woman, then a man may feel more of a weight to carry emotional, awareness or have a heavier emotional burden in terms of managing his emotions to make room for hers, all those things, right? But then we will also still have the verses, which is in a man, because emotions, quote unquote, do not matter to men. And that's with loose air quotes. I'm not saying it doesn't, but let's just say, technically speaking, it doesn't, right? Then what does? The physicality. So now you have a woman who then has to maintain appearance and maintain their physical and what that does to them and what that mental, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think every relationship is a give and take, and some have to be stronger than others for a balance. Like, I don't think it needs to be, oh, we're both heavy in this one area. And then, so then where is the balance happening?
Yeah, I think I don't think that there is a balance in that aspect of a relationship. I'm just gonna be 100. I don't think that there is. When there are situations that go on in a man's life, he's not looking for his woman to like be like the emotional space that it would be, and vice versa. And then also I had a question. I forgot the question. But yeah, I don't think that there is a balance.
Well, but there should be. I mean, and that's the point of what I'm trying to say, Rashad, is looking this to me, true partnership is not looking for the person to be strong in the area you're strong in. I think true partnership is, I need you to have willingness. to compromise. I need you to have willingness to be able to do this and handle this. Try your best to make this easier for me. But I know that I'm going to be stronger in this area than you, and vice versa. And cause what it sounds like a lot of men really have come to think, and Rashad, you don't believe this because I feel like you live with a woman that you see. She has strengths in areas you will never have. And what happens is sometimes there is this minimalization of, oh, all she do is no. Imagine if that thing was not being taken care of in your life, the stress, the pressure, you get what I'm saying? The irritation you would have if certain things that you don't deem as high priority were not handled by that woman and she's doing it well. So it's like, yes, I think because women are expressive, or we have hormonal things and we have all of these things where we tend to lean heavier into expressiveness with our emotions, or we have more waves of emotion that men are taught to be more in control of. I do think there is responsibility for women to learn how to control your emotions better too. I don't think that that's what I'm saying. I'm not absolving women of, you can be emotionally reckless just because your man is there, he could take care of them all. No, learn to be emotionally controlled just as much as you can, but understand there's certain levels of sensitivity. As a woman, you want women to be feminine, gentle beings, and that comes with levels of sensitivity in emotion. But if you want her solid as a rock and acting like a nigga, then I mean, what is it that we're asking for? You want your woman to act like a man
No,
and carry like you and have stoic abilities like you and talk to you. You want your woman to be in the house with you acting like a roommate, and y'all, oh, you want to do this? Okay, bet. Yeah. And y'all are, it's like some of those she's going to have more questions. She's going to want to talk about things more. That is the uniqueness of femininity. But using it as a weapon, no. Using it as a thing to say, well, I know if I want to get my way, I'll just be emotional, and I know I'm going to, you know what I'm saying, Rashad? I'm not talking, everything I'm saying is not in support of weaponizing things that are a part of the natural flow of a male-female dynamic. What I'm talking about is men understanding that, yes, you all have the strength and the ability to navigate some of the ebbs and flows of the things that we just do not do well naturally. And that is stoic, masculine, knowing how to approach the world with this game face. Some of us do, but those are the one-offs. And on the adverse, women do the same thing in the areas where you are not sensitive to, because just as much as you want a woman to not be emotionally sensitive, that same emotional well that you're talking about is the emotional well that her nurturing comes from. And you want her to be a good mother to your children.
yeah, I think it is nuanced, but let's get to Watcher. Then I had a question for y'all. Go ahead, Watcher. What's the word? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good this Thursday. Peace to the room. Peace to the room. Just my perspective on on the topic. I would say that much of what I'm going to say, I'm sure folks have already mentioned that from a biological perspective, I think we all should be able to agree that women are built to be more emotional, and that's suitable and purposeful for that matter, and by design. But I'll say in its present day expression, its present day iteration of human beings, and in our modern ways in which we interact with one another, I think it's equally across the board that both parties, male and females, are unhealthily overly emotional. I think it's equal, and I think the cause, from my understanding, the cause for this imbalance of over emotion from both parties happens to deal with the fact that most people are not living in reality as we once were. And what I mean by that is to suggest that there was a time gone past where reality grounded you, and in that grounding, you were better suited to manage your emotions. Today, that's not the case. Most folks live beyond their means. Most people live a fantasy. Most people are pretending to be something that they're not. We see this in their expression as far as their presentation and so forth. And most people are living what I say a false reality. And so because of such, when reality does touch them, they get overly emotional and see them express that in certain ways. And so I think essentially it comes down to both parties being overly emotional, and that's because both parties are no longer rooted in reality as are as those who from a time gone past.
Why is emotions with men, I mean, not emotions, but anger more accepted than sadness when it comes to men? Go ahead, Johnny.
You mean by women?
No, yeah, as far as that
I don't think
level
that
of
emotion,
expression.
I don't see, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm one of the type of women I don't like, and this is outside of relationships. I'm the type of woman that'll cry if I see a man crying. That's just like, that's me, right? there is and I'm not going to dismiss the fact that there are women that get into this narrative of seeing a man cry. I don't want no soft ass man. That
Hey,
is
Michelle.
weird. That is some weird stuff. Exactly. The K Michelle's of the world. I don't care who in the room ascribes to that. That's weirdo behavior. And then you also want men to be, you don't want him to express sadness, but then you want it pent up so much. Like, it don't make no sense. You don't want to see him cry, but then if he put his fist to your face, now it's whatever, right? It's just weird to me, women that ascribe to that. But what I will say is this. I personally think that sadness is the root of most anger for men. Now I'm getting the psychology back, but that's just what it is. Like, I think most men are not as angry as they think. They really are sad or disappointed, or you get what I'm saying, or
Or
hurt,
just hurt.
or just
That's good.
hurt. You get what I'm saying?
But
Like,
those three
and
things
Anger
that
is
you
how it
just
that's,
said,
manifests itself.
you get what I'm saying? Like,
those three
that's
things
just
that
what
you
I
just
feel it
said,
is.
sadness, disappointment, and hurt. I think when we hear messages, when it comes from the hotel, right? And where we talk about these dynamics, I think that those things that are real emotions that everybody goes through, especially men, when we have these conversations, it's a pick yourself up by the bootstraps. You'll be all right. You a man, right? And so with that knowledge that, even starts with childhood, when your son fall on the ground, get up, stop crying like a girl. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
things play into a part, and where now you are, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and you really
Mm-hmm.
are hurt and disappointed and sad. But the only way that you can show that emotion is through anger, because that is what is most accepted, right? If somebody just came to you, hey man, I'm sad, I'm down, right? I don't feel good. Like something
Mm-hmm.
went on in my life. It's like, nigga, stop it.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's also not a lot of women propagating that. It's more men propagating that. There is women that do, but it is the smaller majority is the minority, excuse me, when talking about something like that, because you have men that feel anger equates to motivation. When I'm angry and I got aggression, that's adrenaline, and adrenaline will motivate me to do things, and sadness is a downer, and being sad ain't gonna motivate me to do shit. And that's not true. Like, a lot of times there are certain emotions that you cannot transfer the energy into something else. Sometimes you have to deal with it. And then you're able to maybe, you know what I'm saying, be of clearer mind. But I think it's also, it's a lot of things. I don't even just lean it on like a hotep type thought. I think it is masculinity as a whole, not just black male masculinity. You get what I'm saying? And this is another thing I want us to be mindful of when talking about emotions and masculinity. Machismo is very big in the Latin community, right? When you're talking about masculinity, what men do, all that, that's not just a black thing. But when it comes to black people, we have more of a torrid history with not having anywhere to express or be ourselves. So then we don't have cultures that support it. We have cultures that say we ain't got time for that. So it happens across the board. Some cultures just celebrate it. Others don't have room for it. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah.
to me, I feel
Horrid.
like I'm sorry.
Horrid. Okay, vocabulista.
Oh, you listen. I got a little word. I got a little word or two, dude. But I really do think that some of those things, to be quite honest, Rashad, are things like you've talked about on your platform before, right? You've talked about men raising boys and giving your boys the opportunity to follow their dreams, or if not follow their dreams, what does masculinity look like? Crying, emotions, you know what I'm saying? And I think there is not one thing for it, but before we look for singularly, I'm not saying women are not a part of the solution. We are, but instead of singularly looking for women in relationships to make you feel more safe in your emotions, it is also like, where did you first find, you know what I'm saying? What are the areas where you didn't find
Yeah,
safety in
like
your
the
emotions
root, the
from the
foundation.
beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cortland. Then we got Hotep.
And I guess
Boo!
fuck you, bald ass nigga. Anyway, uh, I think ultimately, I think it's how we look at men and women's emotions, right? Or how like when you navigate those emotions. Anger most times is more accepted by men because it's looked at as strength, right? Like, oh, he's mad, right? That's a strong masculine, emotion, right? Whereas you see a man who's sad or right or he kind of down, it's like, man, that nigga being soft, right? Like, what you crying for, right? Like, it's not, it's looked at as a female emotion, right? Like crying is looked at as a female thing. Sadness is looked at a female thing. Versus like strength, like anger, right? It's looked like, okay, like you just letting it out, brother. You just need to have an outlet. I think for men, it's more healthy to be emotional. Like everybody's emotional. Everybody got emotions. You in your lifetime have probably experienced the full spectrum of emotions. How you express those things are different, though, right? And I disagree with you, Jonah. I do think women propagate a lot of the issues that we see with men expressing emotions. Because if I've literally heard women say, like, I don't want no crying ass nigga, right? I don't want no emotional ass
Right.
nigga.
But I said that
So
that has
then
happened
stoicism,
too.
yeah, like, but
Yeah,
stoicism,
niggas hold the
Because
whole
I
spaces
don't
on that.
want you
hold,
crying.
hold on, so stoicism,
There you go.
so
The fuck?
stoicism, hold on, so stoicism then gets this bad rap when your dude don't do none of that. He just stone faced all the time, and so he lock you out because you don't want that. You don't want him to come to you and express.
No, no,
You don't
no, no,
want him to come
no.
to you.
Some women don't want that and they're weirdos. I'm sorry. That's just the
No, that's
truth.
fair.
Damn,
I'm
nothing
just
is
being, I'm just
so
being honest. So that's why
Hold
I don't
on,
want you to say
that's
you
fair.
disagree because I had
Don't
already
give a hot
before
damn. I do not want you crying.
and that's weird. Sorry,
Cry
sorry,
elsewhere.
Vic. That's a
That's your
weird
opinion, and that's
behavior.
fine. I think it's
So
weird that
I
you want a
was,
man
weirdo.
crying to you. But that's your opinion. That's fine.
Hold on.
no, I think as humans you have emotion, and any woman that says she doesn't want a man
Crying. Go
crying
cry to a
has
therapist. Go cry
has a
to a
problem.
homeboy. Do not cry to
That
me.
is an
Yeah,
Do
internal
not cry
I
to
problem.
never
me.
cried to a woman.
Again,
I've
so
never
Mm-mm.
did
again,
that.
like I said, so
Like you niggas
Cortland,
crying to y'all
I
girls?
said that
Right.
I think some of that was a
Very weird.
problem earlier.
You
Those are
Okay, I
earlier
missed that.
you
issues.
can
No, it's
cry.
okay.
I
What
missed
is?
that.
Yeah,
Oh
that's what
my
I'm saying.
God!
But
God forbid somebody
I'm not gonna
die. I don't think
propagate
that's.
because
Hold on,
again,
Imagine coming to
the
Wait,
cry
you
to
can
a
cry.
alternative,
female.
we're not about to
one
sit here and
mic.
make
Wait.
alternative the
I
normal.
am
That
not
alternative is weird ass
surprised
shit,
that
man.
Vicky
Go
said
go
Yeah,
ahead,
that
so
at
Hotep.
but
all.
Said
hold
what
on,
I
Oh.
that's why
said.
I'm gonna land
One
it.
one
I'm
second,
gonna
one
land
No,
second,
it.
but
one
I
second.
think Vicky. I think she's saying that that's just for
Courtland
her.
with the mess,
Hold on,
man.
wait.
That's just for
Go
her.
ahead.
That's not
Go
for.
ahead,
Yeah.
Hotep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted
Imagine coming to cry to
to
Kenya.
respond
Oof.
to the implication.
What?
I'm not like
BB, shut
salty
the
about
fuck.
it because I do get
Go ahead, Hotep.
my fault. So listen, I was just here to respond to like the implication that you had made earlier, and I know you didn't like mean it in a negative way, but I did just wanted to objectively respond to it. So when I speak to stoicism, people get stoicism kind of conflated with having no emotions at all, and that's not what stoicism is. Stoicism is the managing and the controlling of your emotions. That's what stoicism is. Stoicism dictates whether this particular instance or this particular event calls for whatever emotion. And even when it comes down to men and how we deal with our mental issues or deal with our emotional issues, it's going to be a lot more pragmatic and practical things that we want to implement. So say like if it's a motherfucker sad about not having enough money, he's not going to want to sit here and talk all day to you about how much money he needs to make. He wants to think of ways to make more money. So being able to apply solutions are going to be the best way for a man to handle his emotional and mental health. That's first. Now, when it comes down to incorporating your woman, I get both sides. I get the Jonay side and I get the Vicky side. And what I will say is it's a little bit of both. There is a level of responsibility that you have as a man to be able to take on your woman's emotions and all that it comes with. And on the opposite side of that, knowing that there is going to come a sacrifice with that because you are a man. So that doesn't mean you shut your woman out completely about what's going on with you. But I believe you need to regulate those things within yourself first and then come to her because you may be sad or you may be, down and she's noticing your change in demeanor. So in that regard, you'll usually say something healthy like, hey, I'm just going through something right now. I'm just figuring things out. And in another instance would be after you figured it out, like, hey, well, listen, I was fucked up about this. I was going through my mind about this. And this is what I'm going to be implementing from now on to make sure that, I'm dealing with this better or I'm actually, advancing my life in a particular way. But I do not, and I'm saying this, I'm not saying this to be toxic or anything like that, but I do not think it's proper frame or proper just doctrine for a man to be pouring his soul out to his woman on a regular, like a super regular basis like that. I think that there is something in it for a man to be able to solve these problems on his own. You dig what I'm saying? Incorporating your woman is fine. Having those conversations are totally fine. I don't want you guys to misunderstand what I'm saying. Please let your woman know how you're feeling and stuff like that. But I think that there is a level of control that you need to have when you're having these conversations, because what will happen is, if you're falling by the wayside mentally or emotionally, and then she's now feeling a way based upon whatever's not happening because of that, it may have a negative, even more negative side effect. So again, I think you guys do need to look yourselves in the mirror a lot more when you're having these issues, and then incorporate your woman where you believe that it actually be healthy. But I don't think that you can consistently or constantly pouring and pouring and pouring your emotions out is something that you need to be doing. I think that's actually the opposite of, proper mental or emotional care.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily consistent, right? Because, I don't think Vicky is talking about a consistent thing. I think she's saying don't do it at all, right? And so when we come from that standpoint of, no, it not being consistent, but we also have to realize that we are human beings, right? And so the mindset that in every instant, it has to be an eye on the prize and the goal and solution and what you're going to do next and this and that. And then sometimes it's like, nigga, I just don't feel like doing none of this shit. I'm tired. Life is
Right.
lifing, and this is how I'm gonna handle it right now.
But
Right.
That's
life
what
I
I,
is
think
that's
that
what
you
always
guys have
understand
already
lifing.
And
said
please
that.
Life
don't
is
get it
In the
always
moment.
mis
Life,
lifing. So
please
In
how
those
don't let
often
it
do
moments,
you
real
have
quick.
that
yeah,
breakdown?
In those
and
moments.
please
I'm not
don't get
finna
it
Right.
make no
misconstrued,
How
excuses.
Hotep.
often do
One
you
mic,
have
one mic,
that
All
breakdown?
right,
one
Life
mic,
is
one
folks
mic.
are
always
talking.
lifing.
No, it's not that. That's not what I'm
Of
We're
saying.
There's
course,
What
and
I'm
there's
I
room
saying,
mean
for
there are
any
instances when you
emotion.
I
stub your
can't hear
toe.
all of
Then
y'all.
there's instances when your mama died, right? There is a spectrum of life happening, but when those
No, that's
everybody
what
has
they
a
saying. We don't want you crying even if your mom dead. Like,
they
that's what
everybody
they
who?
has a
saying.
different
They
Go
breaking
go
point,
go
right?
ahead and tell the
Who
go
said
tell the
that?
therapist your mama died.
No, but
And
Who
I don't
what
said
want to see
that?
you crying at all.
everybody has
So
their own
yeah.
breaking point. There's things
Oh
that
Lord.
different levels of the men that are on stage and
I think
where
every man
hold on,
is
hold on, hold on.
different.
There's different levels of men on the stage and where we can handle different types of situations, right? There, and so it varies, but it's not up to the woman to say, you shouldn't be doing this, right? I can't step on your toe and tell you it don't hurt. And so just that notion of alone of the woman should be able to dictate how a nigga respond to life happening, right? And then it's one sided in that situation. I think that's bogus. And then, like I said, niggas is humans. So why can't a nigga just be a human being sometime? And I'm not talking about all the time. Any nigga who
Nah, a
crying all the
nigga.
time, hey
If
man,
a nigga
pull your
A
is
goddamn
woman
pants
crying,
up.
shouldn't even, but
But
the thing
niggas is
about it is
humans.
Rashad, but the thing about it is a woman shouldn't be crying all the time. Like that, again, like I think what we're talking about and what we're trying to do is to frame what's being said in the extreme. No man nor any woman. Let me tell you, a woman that is crying, literally, not saying being a crybaby, meaning, she might tear up. I'm talking about
Ratty and shit.
literally, exactly, being bratty and crying all the time is just as much as a man, like you're saying, Hotep, always, oh babe, oh my God, I can't, that's not what we're talking about. And the fact that we can't recognize we're talking about natural emoting versus the extremes of it and
yeah,
trying to
that's what
make a
I was
point about an
responding to.
extreme is not the
That's
point.
what I
Cause
was
again, that's
responding
not
to.
what's being discussed. But saying, generally speaking, right? What is being said and what is propagated often is a no tolerance policy. And that is not what you said, Hotep. You're saying the
Yeah,
extreme, and I agree with the extreme on both ends, women and men. But there are people in this world, and Vicky, you could correct me, but when you came on stage, what you said was, I don't want to hear none of that crying.
I
Tell your
don't.
therapist. So that's
Go
a
tell him.
no tolerance policy.
So
So
I
that, so
agree.
right. So then, so in her
I
no
was taught
tolerance,
that as a man
right. But
by
in
my
her in
father
her and
and my
DB's no,
Right.
that's
but
grandfather
fine.
DB,
But
that's
in,
also
as
not,
right.
well.
But
that's not
DB and
healthy.
you and
And
Vic,
I'll be
Hold on,
wrong.
Janae.
I'll
But
down that
DB,
and
Hold
that's
on,
hill
wait.
fine.
See, this is
and
bullshit.
never cry
This
to
the
him.
bullshit, right? Because DB, you also said
I'll down that
DB, you
hill.
also said that your dad had 28
Don't
kids.
mute me.
You also said that your dad had 28 kids and you did the opposite. Right? So don't act like this is what I know and this is what I see and I'm gonna do exactly what I know and what I was taught. No, nigga, you got the autonomy to do something different. You just choose to propagate that narrative of niggas don't cry. Because you can do something different because you already have.
Your
Yeah, I
father
had a
has
million
what?
uncles that my
but
uncles never did none of that goofy shit around they bitches, bro. I
that's
never
not goofy
was
But
though.
raised to see
also,
that shit. And
no,
it's
you're also a
and hold
man
on,
that get
Johnny,
on
hold
these
on, let me talk
spaces
to this
and be
man.
screaming to the top of your lungs, showing emotion as you're saying right now.
My
You
nigga,
see
hold
emotion
on.
as we
What
speak.
I'm
So
saying,
that's why maybe you should cry more.
That's crazy, Janae.
you
You know
cannot
what?
That's
speak
crazy.
without
You're right. You're
screaming.
right.
No,
You're
hold on,
right.
wait. Let
You know
let
what?
let
I'm gonna
DB go.
cry.
Go ahead,
You know
DB.
what? No, it's cool. I'm gonna just cry more. You know what? And see what
See,
Do
outcome
crying
not.
isn't the
that
only way
bring
to
to
show
me.
emotion. So just because you
Congratulations.
don't cry doesn't mean that you express the
That
emotions
is
any
my
Okay,
point.
differently.
Thank you,
Is
so
that you
Slick.
can be emotional and not ever cry, but you're always yelling and cussing and fussing.
Nah,
It's
Exactly. You still
equivalent to
have
the
the
same
emotion
thing.
there.
I respect every man's perspective on how they do with their emotions and they bitches or whatever they got going on.
No, you don't.
Congratulations. I just say for me and my kids, my son ain't never being taught to be no. That's some dweeb nigga shit to me. But my kids won't be raised like that. As
I
far as
love when we
have a
okay,
draw the
support
line
so
on
system,
what's
so
sweet.
hold on.
have a support system in place for you to go
What
and
support
find
system,
that
nigga? He
that
gonna come to
Okay,
comfort.
his
so
uncles and his daddy, and they gonna say,
Again,
"Suck it up."
he can
The
come
support
to
system ain't
That's
the
what
his
niggas
uncle, ain't the
need.
father.
girl, ain't his
He can
mama,
okay,
come
ain't
to
so I'm
he
a
can
nobody.
come to he can go to his father, his uncles, his
You gonna
friend
tell them
group
niggas
of
shape up?
yeah,
This
brothers.
that's
is just
crazy because here's my
Yeah,
That's
shape the
hold
not
on,
fuck up,
bro.
support.
nigga.
So my
Shape
thing
up.
is
Go ahead,
Teach
Courtland.
they
Then
own.
And
Y'all
that's
no,
y'all
why
no,
ain't
we
no,
have
trying
no.
a
to do
Stay
bunch
away
of
from
it.
the
angry
no,
ass
no.
black
hold on, wait.
men
Go ahead, Courtland.
I was
exactly,
trying to
running
stay
Slick.
away
around
from
here.
the parents teaching your kid thing, right? But to DB, my grandfather only saw that man cry twice in his life, right? Every other time my grandfather was devoid of any emotion, right? The only time I seen that man cry was when his sister died and when my grandmother died. That's it, right? My father, I've never seen him cry ever, not once. Now when my grandfather died, none of it. I never saw the man. I've never seen him cry, right? But as far as me and mine go, right, and my emotions, how I deal with things, my wife don't never turn me away. Like if I feel like I gotta cry, hey, come cry with me. Let's do that, right? And now once you get that out, don't dwell in it, right? Pick yourself up. We're gonna figure this out. To say that a man can't cry to you as his woman or whatever, that to me just goes to show like this is the reason why a lot of brothers feel like I need to go outside and find somebody else and find another emotional center, another emotional outlet, and then that leads to other shit. And then y'all be on here crying about why men cheat, right? Or I need to go find the outlet, or he pins all this shit in, right? And he don't talk to you. He lock you out. He locks everybody out. And then it comes out when it comes out of anger and he going upside somebody's head or he committing suicide. Then y'all get on this app and y'all cry about it. Like I don't want to hear that shit. Like it's an easy way to have a healthy emotional outlet, right? And most of the time you want to look for that in the person that's your partner. You shouldn't have to always go to a third party.
And that's where I disagree. No, that's where I disagree, and that's not how I was raised and no talk. But I
But you can
respectfully,
go but
I
life
respect everything
experience.
else you
Hold
submit,
on, DB, but
but also respect what I'm
I'm
saying
not
as well.
disrespecting what you're
The
saying.
truth of the matter is, y'all niggas be in y'all feelings and be downloading all that shit to y'all homeboys and downloading all that shit to these side bitches because you can't talk to your woman in the house because you feel like it emasculates you. Y'all niggas is crazy.
But
I
Crazy.
think that
Because it ain't
Yeah,
I
like
think
you
that
ain't
I
doing it.
disagree with
Literally
that.
Hold on, wait,
insane.
wait, wait,
Rashad,
wait,
how
wait.
no,
often do you
no,
Hold on, hold
cry?
on, hold on, hold on, hold
that'll
on.
be the
Because it ain't
same
like you ain't doing
extreme
it.
that Jonay was talking
Because
about on the other
we
side.
are
That
the homeboys
There's
and where
not
we
a
be like, hey
okay.
fam, go talk to
Hold
your
Yeah,
on.
woman.
Let me come
I
back.
can't remember the
We
last
been
time
the homeboys and where we be like, hey fam, go talk to your
I
girl.
experienced a
You
lot of
can't talk
death.
to your
Eh,
goddamn woman all the time. Or so you here
People
with
deal with
us.
death. People
DB,
deal with
stop
turmoil
talking
and
when
other
folks
shit differently, bro.
talking.
I'm
It's
having a
not a good, but
conversation
you
with you
can't have
because
a
it's regarding
conversation.
around the shit
You
that I
can't have a conversation while somebody else having a conversation. When folks listen back, they hear two niggas talking and they can't hear the conversation. What I'm saying is that men do that shit anyway. And so you trying to make like you tough because you're not doing it in front of your girl, that don't make you more tough, nigga. That don't make you more cool. That just make you a nigga who, instead of being with the partner, because if you with a woman, then why not do it with that woman? Instead of having to go sneaking high, you go talk to prostitutes and they say that all niggas want to do is really talk. And so it's not like it's not happening. You just too scared and yeah, you scared to do that in front of your woman because of based on how she would think about you. That shit
Hey, now
bogus.
that's the one about the prostitute is a good point. All them hoes say every time them hoes talk, I get the best of him because he comes and vent to me about his life and his bitch. That's all they say. Listen to him.
man,
Go watch Real
I
Sex.
think that
Every
you can
last
just
one of
I
them
think
hoes on Real Sex say them niggas come to vent to me about their wives and their life.
I think
easiest
Real
that
sex
$40
is a
she ever
throwback.
made.
You went deep in the bag for
I
that
think
one.
the proper solution is just conversation. That's pretty much what it is. It's all about communication. And I think that's where it gets conflated. I don't think that you need to, be so emotional about it with just having a conversation with your woman about what's going on with you. Like that's what I mean. I'm not saying that you can't cry. I'm not saying that you shouldn't cry. And I'm not saying that your woman shouldn't be a place of solace for you to heal, to feel better, and to be able to let things out. That absolutely should happen. You guys are one at that point. I'm just saying that when it comes down to the ways people are talking about it, I don't agree with, that type of expression of it. That's all. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to talk to your lady or you can't cry, but you know, looking at it from the perspective of being a man and the things that you are going to go through, there are just going to be certain things that there won't be any type of real understanding outside of just wanting that, giving you the space to do it. It's just certain things that women just won't understand about men. And I think that's vice versa. I just don't think that it has to be as extreme as Vicky's saying. And it's like, don't cry at all or whatever. But I also don't think it has to be on the other side, which is what Rashad and think Jonay is saying, to where it's like,
Cry all the time.
you scared of your woman.
And that's not what was said.
I
So
want to
that's
hear from
exactly
Vicky
why I
why
know
Vicky
y'all don't
feels this
listen
way.
well. Y'all don't listen
No,
actively.
Jonay, I don't know
Go,
where Rashad is coming from. I thought I was
Y'all ain't
I
listening
said don't cry
actively.
ever, and y'all said
yeah,
cry all the
listen.
time. That's what
That's
happened.
not
No,
what I said.
no.
I didn't
And
say
go,
none of
Vicky.
and
Why
that.
and
why do
and
you
I,
why do you
hold
feel
on
that?
though,
How
because I
you
would like
feel?
to finish my point. Because again, I don't know where the y'all stuff is coming from. I thought I was understanding what you were saying pretty well, Jonay. So I don't know, like I don't know
But
what.
you're hinging it on what Rashad is going a bit more extreme. But again, as I said when I first started, I was talking about the